Every person has the potential for greatness inside them. But this potential often stays hidden because people don't develop the right habits. You might have a clear dream, a strong desire, and even write down your goals with belief. However, if you don't make successful habits a regular part of your life, in your actions, thoughts, and decisions, then success will always be something you chase instead of something you become. I've learned a key truth from studying many successful people. Success isn't a one-time event. It's a habit. It's not a destination you reach. It's momentum you build. The people who rise and stay at the top aren't just relying on willpower. They've built discipline into their daily lives. They don't leave success to chance. They create a system. This system becomes a strong foundation that helps them even when they lose motivation, feel afraid, or tired. Most people think success means doing one big thing. But successful people know it's about consistently doing small things with precision over and over until those actions define who you are. If you can master this, if you can create habits that are stronger than your urge to resist, you won't just act successful. You'll become successful. You'll feel in your body, in how you speak, and in how you enter a room. It won't feel like effort anymore. It will be part of your identity. Building your success habits. Understand this. You don't accidentally program success habits into your being. It happens on purpose. It starts with a single decision. You'll stop letting life simply happen to you, and you'll start deliberately, consistently, and powerfully programming yourself. If you don't choose your habits, your surroundings will choose them for you. And if left unchecked, the world will program you to doubt, delay, give up on yourself, and settle for less. But if you take control, if you start writing your daily script with clarity and strong belief, your habits won't just be reactions. They'll be a reflection of your future. Identity-based habits. The first and most important step is to understand this. Your habits must be based on who you want to be, not just what you want to achieve. Many people form habits around goals. They say, I want to lose weight, or I want to get rich, or I want to be successful. But simply wanting isn't becoming. A person who builds habits only around outcomes will often give up when the goal seems far away. However, someone who builds habits around the person they are becoming will stick with it. Why? Because every time they repeat a habit, it's a vote for that new identity. So instead of saying, I want to become successful, say, I am a disciplined person. Instead of, I want to get fit, say, I'm the kind of person who never misses a workout. Do you see the difference? One depends on quick results. The other depends on consistent repetition. And repetition is how you master anything. Every time you follow through, keep your word, or choose the new over the old, you're not just finishing a task. You're supporting the identity of a high achiever. Over time, these actions add up, forming your self-image. Once your self-image changes, your behavior becomes automatic. Reprogramming your mind. Let's talk about how this self-image is formed. Your subconscious mind is like fertile ground, and habits are the seeds. What you plant, water, and repeat will grow. Your subconscious mind accepts every repeated action and thought as an instruction. It doesn't question or judge. It simply obeys. So when you repeat a behavior, good or bad, with emotion and consistency, your subconscious starts doing it automatically. This is why bad habits are so hard to break. They're deeply ingrained through repetition. But here's the good news. You can reprogram your subconscious mind whenever you want. Once new patterns are in place, they no longer require effort. They become part of who you are. So, how do we reprogram a mind? Start by designing your days like a master architect, not based on your mood, but on your standards. This means figuring out which habits reflect the future version of yourself and making them non-negotiable daily activities. These aren't if I feel like it habits. They're must-dos. You don't skip your planning just because you're tired. You don't skip your focused work time because someone calls. You don't compromise your standards. You live by them. Success doesn't care how you feel. It responds to structure. And structure is what transforms ambition into reality. Environment and congruence. Many people struggle to build habits because they overestimate how much motivation matters and underestimate the power of their surroundings. Listen carefully. Your environment either helps your habits or hinders them. If your space is full of distractions, clutter, and low-energy people, you'll be fighting a losing battle. But if your environment is clear, focused, and filled with things that trigger successful actions, it becomes easier to win. Highly successful people design their world to support their desired behavior. This means removing temptations, surrounding themselves with reminders of high performance, and scheduling their time in advance instead of just reacting to demands. This isn't being obsessive, it's being efficient. Discipline can be tough, but distraction is ruinous. Your environment either contributes to your success or takes away from it every single day. Let's go deeper. If you truly want success habits to become part of your DNA, you must use what I call the law of congruence. This law states that your behavior will always try to match your self-image. So, if you say, I want to be rich, but deep down you still see yourself as someone who always struggles, your mind will create habits that match that old image. You'll end up sabotaging yourself, delaying or quitting early. But if you change your self-image first, the habits will follow. The fastest way to change that image is to start acting like the person you want to be before you feel like it. Don't fake it. Practice it. Speak like that person would speak. Walk like that person would walk. Make decisions like that person would decide. Your mind believes what you do most often. If you practice success even before you see results, your mind will eventually catch up and say, this is who I am now. From that point, habits become automatic, the triad of lasting change. Understand this deeper truth. You aren't just trying to build discipline. You're trying to become a disciplined person. You're not trying to act confident. You're trying to become a confident person. You're not just trying to touch success. You're trying to build a life where success is inevitable. This shift from doing to being is the difference between a temporary change and true transformation. And transformation is what embeds success into your DNA. You must commit. You must create daily routines that match your future self, not your current feelings. Be strict about what you allow into your space, your mind, and your words. Speak in line with what you're building, even if you don't fully believe it yet. Your words are seeds. Your routines are roots, and your standards are scaffolding. If you raise your standards high enough, the world will have no choice but to meet you there. This is how you take success from theory and make it a part of your life, your character, and your very essence. When you live this way, when habits are no longer just tasks, but fundamental truths, you no longer chase success, you carry it. If you've decided to build your life based on structure rather than random circumstances, you're already ahead of 99% of the world. Most people aren't truly living. They're just reacting, pulled from one distraction or emotion to the next, building nothing solid and wondering why their lives feel empty. But you've chosen something different. You've chosen to become someone whose habits do the heavy lifting. Now, I'll show you how to make good habits unbreakable. Superficial routines will fall apart the moment things get tough. But habits rooted in your identity, strengthened by your vision, and supported by daily proof, those habits become permanent. They're no longer something you do. They are who you are. This is the secret to making things automatic. The key is what I call the triad of lasting change: belief, behavior, and repetition. Belief. Every habit you try to build will eventually conform to your deepest beliefs about yourself. If you truly believe you're inconsistent, then no matter how many books you read or systems you create, your behavior will always revert to that belief. Your subconscious mind must keep your identity and actions consistent. You can't outperform the belief that controls you. So what should you do? Create a new belief system that serves your future. This doesn't happen by wishing. It happens through repetition and evidence. This means intensely affirming, I am disciplined, I am consistent, I follow through. It means daily visualizing not just what you want, but who you are becoming. And most importantly, it means taking one aligned action each day that proves your new identity. One decision, one refusal to delay, one task completed even when it's inconvenient. Every action is a brick in the wall of your new belief. Once your subconscious accepts this belief, resistance disappears. Your habits no longer feel forced. They feel natural. You start operating from power, not pressure. That's the power of internal programming. Behavior. Most people fail not because they lack desire, but because they try to change everything at once. Success isn't built through grand declarations. It's built through tiny decisions repeated consistently, supported by a strong why and tracked through feedback. So, don't try to tackle everything. Focus on one thing. What's the one keystone habit that, if mastered, would improve every area of your life? For some, it's waking up early. For others, it's planning their day in advance. For many, it's mastering the first hour of their morning, what I call the sacred hour. How you start your day sets the tone for how you think, feel, and respond. If you win your morning, you win your mind. And once your mind is under your control, so too will be your time, attention, and decisions. So choose your keystone habit and protect it as if your life depends on it, because it does. Repetition. You won't succeed because of intense bursts of effort. You'll succeed because of consistency. And consistency is built when habits are made obvious, simple, and satisfying. If your new habit requires too much effort to start, you won't follow through. So make it easy to begin. If you want to read more, put the book on your pillow every morning. If you want to exercise daily, lay out your clothes the night before. If you want to journal, keep the notebook within reach of your bed. These aren't small things. They are everything. Success habits aren't formed through struggle. They're formed through structure. Make it easy to begin, and your brain will start craving completion. That craving creates momentum. And once momentum is built, it's the most powerful force in personal transformation, protecting your habits and your future. Now, let's talk about how to protect your habits once they start to grow. Success isn't just about starting strong. It's about staying steady. To stay steady, you must apply the law of personal accountability. This law says that what you track, you improve. If you're not measuring your habits, you're not managing them. So, build a system for self-accountability. It could be a habit tracker, a morning checklist, or a nightly review. The tool doesn't matter. The consistency of using it does. Because when you track, you see progress. And progress fuels persistence. Let me address moments of failure, because they will happen. You'll break a streak. You'll miss a day. You'll fall short of your standard. That's not the end. It's part of the process. What matters most isn't perfection, but your recovery speed. When you fall off track, the question is, how quickly do you get back on? Missing one day is an event. Missing 2 days becomes a pattern. Missing 3 days becomes a new habit, but in the wrong direction. So when you fall, rise immediately, not with shame or guilt, but with clarity. Failure isn't failure when it becomes feedback. Let me introduce another principle that will change your relationship with effort forever: the threshold of identity pain. This is the invisible line where your old habits clash with your new identity. It's the moment when you feel the most resistance, frustration, and temptation to go back. But this moment, this threshold, is actually a doorway to a new level of power. When you push through the resistance, when you complete the habit, even when your mind screams quit, something inside you rewires. You expand, you shift, you become. The next time you face that threshold, it's no longer terrifying, it's familiar. Soon, it becomes easy because you built strength at the point where most people give up. That's how success habits become part of your DNA. You cross that threshold again and again until it's no longer a difficult line. It's just your standard. The ultimate truth, becoming your best self. So what's the final truth? It's this: you're not just building habits, you're building a life. Every day you wake up early. Every time you plan with purpose, every time you speak clearly, every time you keep your word, you're not just moving closer to success, you are becoming it. And when enough of these habits have compounded, when you've cast enough votes for your future self, you'll wake up one day and realize, this isn't hard anymore. This is who I am now. That, my friend, is the moment you've been working for. When excellence feels natural, when high performance doesn't feel like pressure, when achievement comes without force because success has become your very nature. That is the mark of a truly powerful person. Someone whose standards are unwavering, whose decisions aren't swayed by emotion, and whose habits serve their vision even when everyone else is asleep. That man is who you are becoming. If you follow this message, you're no longer the same. You're not just a person with potential. You're a person who practices. You're not chasing success. You're creating it one action, one standard, one routine at a time. But now comes the real challenge. It's not just about starting your habits, but about making them immortal. Many people can build habits for a month, some even for a year, but very few embed them so deeply into their character that no environment, no failure, no emotional setback can shake them loose. That's the final stage. That's when success is no longer just an achievement, but your default way of operating. It's no longer something you reach for. It's what you automatically do. This only happens when your habits are connected not just to your goals, but to your deepest values. So, ask yourself now, honestly, what do I value most? Is it discipline, growth, peace, mastery? The habits that last are always those anchored to your values. If you value clarity, you'll always return to planning. If you value progress, you'll always come back to learning and building. If you value integrity, you'll never abandon the routines that make you proud of who you are, even when no one is watching. When your habits and your values are in sync, there's no more internal conflict. The struggle ends, and success begins to flow through you naturally, without friction. But here's what most people miss. The moment you stop improving your habits is the moment your old life starts calling you back. You can't just coast in this work. There's no neutral gear. You are either strengthening your successful identity or letting it fall apart. If you let just one old habit return, if you let one standard drop, if one compromise becomes routine, it won't stop there. It will grow. Habits multiply in both directions. So you must remain vigilant, not paranoid or afraid, but focused because your future depends on it. When your habits are pure, your mind is sharp. When your habits are strong, your vision is clear. When your habits are aligned, your results are automatic. But most importantly, When your habits are rooted in truth, you are unshakable. That's the reward of this work. Now, let me speak directly to any lingering doubts in your mind. What if I fail again? What if I'm not built for this? What if I slip back into my old ways? Tell that voice this. Even if I fall, I will rise again. Even if I miss, I will return stronger. Even if it takes time, I will not stop until my habits match the man I was born to be. That kind of declaration destroys doubt. Because the truth is, you don't need to be perfect to be powerful. You don't need to be flawless to be formidable. You only need to persist. And you will, because now you know how. Now you know that your habits shape your identity, and your identity determines your destiny. Now you know that success isn't a random stroke of luck. It's a daily choice. Now you know your subconscious obeys what you repeat, not just what you intend. Now you know your environment must be created, not just accepted. Now you know that structure creates freedom and chaos leads to collapse. Now you know that motivation is unreliable, but standards are unbreakable. And most importantly, you know that you are not just capable of transformation. You are responsible for it. This is the work. This is the path. This is the blueprint. But only you can walk it. Only you can say, I will no longer hope for change. I will create it. Only you can decide today, right now. From this moment forward, I build my life around the habits of the man I am becoming. That man doesn't hit snooze. That man doesn't leave his goals to memory. That man doesn't chase shortcuts, avoid pressure, or give in to distractions. That man honors his time. That man guards his thoughts. That man protects his standards. And in doing so, that man programs success into his DNA. He doesn't need to remind the world who he is. His consistency speaks louder than any words. His discipline echoes through every result. His habits announce him before he even enters the room. That is the power you now hold, but you must hold it daily. So here's what I ask of you. Choose one habit today, one behavior that reflects your highest self, one standard that reflects your future, and follow through. Not because you feel like it, but because you said you would. And tomorrow, do it again. And the next day, do it again. Every time you repeat that behavior, say to yourself, this is who I am now, because eventually it will no longer be something you say. It will be something you live. That, my friend, is how success becomes automatic. That is how you build an identity that cannot be shaken. And that is how you walk into every room, every challenge, every opportunity with the calm, steady confidence of a man who doesn't need to chase greatness, because he already embodies it. So go now, not with pressure, but with power, not with noise, but with conviction. Build the habits, keep the standards, walk the path, and never again wonder if success is coming. Know this, it's already on its way, because you are becoming the kind of person who always meets it.